For most people, the Toyota brand is synonymous with family vehicles that are reliable, efficient and affordable, and there's the off-road crowd that will immediately throw up models like the Toyota 4Runner SUV or Tundra pickup truck. There are those of us, however, that know that Toyota has a rich heritage of sports cars. Sure, we can talk about the modern GR Yaris or even the GR Corolla. Maybe you're thinking of the Mark IV Supra that saw a huge rise to stardom after starring in the now cult classic Fast and Furious. The truth is, however, that Toyota's sports car history runs much deeper than that. In fact, Toyota's sports car history goes all the way back to the 1960s. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 best Toyota sports cars ever made. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome auto guides, and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when we publish a new video. So let's cut to the chase. At 10, Toyota GR86. Following the success of the GT86, Toyota and Subaru teamed up once again to make a sequel to the near-perfect entry-level sports coupe in the form of an all-new Toyota GR86. On the surface, the GR86 looks like a mild evolution at best, but under the skin is where most of the worthwhile changes have been made. Starting with the engine, the car comes with an all-new 2.4-litre naturally aspirated Boxer 4 that makes 228 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. But more importantly, it gets rid of the major flat spot in the power band that plagued its predecessor. The 6-speed manual comes to be the standard offering, with a 6-speed auto available at extra cost. In addition, the new chassis is stiffer, and in combination with the Michelin Pilot 4 tyres that come as standard in most regions, the new GR86 takes handling and agility to a whole new level. The revised styling and the updated interiors with new tech such as updated infotainment and a fully digital gauge cluster with tons of interior space makes this a very usable and well-rounded entry-level sports car. Next up at 9, Toyota GT86. Built in collaboration with Subaru, the Toyota GT86 was an entry-level 2+2 sports car designed to take on the mighty Mazda Miata in the budget sports car segment. Made between 2012 and 2021, the GT86, also known as 86, FT86 in some regions, brought back the classic front-engined RWD platform at an affordable price point and made use of clever engineering to keep the costs down with minimal compromises. As a result, the GT86 was powered by the Subaru-sourced 2-litre naturally aspirated Boxer engine, which improved the centre of gravity, courtesy of the flat-4 engine configuration. It turned out to be cheaper than using a smaller capacity turbocharged engine. This setup came mated to either a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed TQ automatic. The engine was rated to produce 197 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque, sipping 98 RON fuel. Most models even received an LSD, which with the car's low curb weight gave it very predictable handling and a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 6 seconds. In the end, the GT86 was a sales success, and despite flaws in its power delivery, the GT86 and Subaru BRZ gained worldwide fame for mastering the simple sports car recipe. At 8, Toyota Mark IV Supra. Not only is it one of the best Toyota sports cars ever made, but it is also considered one of the best sports cars of all time. The Mark IV Toyota Supra is a pop culture and tuner icon that, along with the Nissan GT-R range, is the face of the JDM sports cars culture. Originally launched as a high-performance variant of the Celica, the Supra became a standalone model in 1986, and in 1993, the iconic Mark IV Supra was launched. The Supra's party piece has to be its 2JZ engine, which is a star in its own right. The Mark IV Supra came in 2 flavours. First was the naturally aspirated 2JZ GE 3-litre inline-6 engine that made 220 horsepower and 210 pound-feet of torque, and the second configuration was the 2JZ GTE, which was the same inline-6 but with 2 turbos strapped to it, which pushed the power output to 321 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque, although the power figures varied slightly depending on the region. Out of the box, this right-wheel drive sports car was capable of doing the 0 to 60 mph sprint in just 4.6 seconds, and the quarter-mile time was an impressive 13.1 seconds. But it's the seemingly limitless tuning potential that led to the popularity of Supra, especially amongst the tuner community, which is why used Mark IV Supras can fetch anywhere between $150,000 to $300,000 in the used car market. At 7, Toyota MR2 Mark III, Toyota MRS. Unveiled to the public back in 1984, the Toyota MR2 was a revolution in sports car design and a packaging marvel. The name MR2 stands for Mid-Engine Rear-Wheel Drive 2-Seater, and we will be looking at the coveted Mark III Toyota MR2, which was in production from 1999 to 2007. After setting new benchmarks for handling and balance in the entry-level sports car market, the third-gen model set about to improve the tried-and-tested formula. The all-alloy 1.8-litre DOHC unit, codenamed the 1ZZFE, came with variable valve timing and DOHC. As a result, it made a healthy 138 horsepower and 127 pound-feet of torque. With an extremely low curb weight of under a ton, the MR2 had a great power-to-weight ratio and was capable of an impressive 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 8 seconds and a top speed just shy of 130 miles per hour. The 1ZZ engine is also famous in the tuner community for its high tolerance to modifications, which, combined with its agility, led to the MR2's success in motorsports. At 6, Toyota Supra Turbo Mark III. The Toyota Supra Turbo, also known as the Lexus SC, was a subtle and elegant-looking coupe, and the model in question is the third generation made between 1991 and 2000. Apart from the grown-up looks and luxury, the cars carrying the Turbo badge came with a special engine, the 2.5-litre 1JZ GTE inline-6 with 2 turbos strapped for good measure. And this setup came mated to a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic gearbox. While Toyota and Lexus SC offered a V8-powered to Supra as well, the turbocharged version quickly gained fame among tuners and enthusiasts, thanks to the engine, which in stock form made 276 horsepower and 279 pound-feet of torque. However, it was the engine's robust nature that made it capable of handling high boost pressures on stock internals, which led to its success among the tuner community. At 5, Toyota Corolla AE86. Officially known as the Toyota Corolla GT Coupe, but commonly identified by its chassis code AE86, this particular version is, without a doubt, the most sought-after Corolla to date. And the biggest reason for its popularity is the rear-wheel drive layout, and also the fact that it featured as the hero car in famous anime series Initial D. Yes, right-wheel drive in a Corolla was made between 1983 and 1987 because when Toyota set out to make a sport version of the 5th generation Corolla, which already existed in the 4-wheel drive 4-door sedan and hatchback form, they decided to make it right-wheel drive and give it an all-new RWD chassis accompanied by a properly zippy engine. Speaking of which, the Toyota Corolla AE86 was powered by a transversely mounted 1.6-litre 4AGE engine featuring twin overhead cams and electronic fuel injection. As a result, it made a respectable 130 horsepower and 109 pound-feet of torque. Power was channeled via a 5-speed manual gearbox, and combined with the light 2-door design that weighed in at just under 970 kilos, the AE86 was capable of achieving a top speed of 130 miles per hour. The Corolla GT Coupe was also a top choice for drifting and other forms of racing, including the British touring car, even rally, and is credited by many as the car that created the flamboyant sport of drifting. These cars are now highly sought-after collectibles, but continue to be cheap to work on. But good luck finding an all-original example that is nearly impossible to come by. Next up, at 4, Toyota Celica Supra. From one Celica to the next, let's talk about the underrated and forgotten JDM classic known as the Toyota Celica Supra. Launched back in 1978, it was largely based on the Celica Liftback, but had notably bigger dimensions and received other minor designs and structures, all of which were made for the sole purpose of accommodating a larger inline-6 engine under the hood. So the Supra name was originally used as the name for the highest-end trim level of the Celica, which in JDM spec was called Celica XX, before it became a standalone model in 1983 when they split the Celica and the Supra. So this first-gen car was a thoroughbred Toyota sports car, and in the States, a range of engines was offered. The entry-level engine was a 2-litre SOHC inline-6 that shared its basic block with the Toyota 2000 GT and produced 123 horsepower, while later models received a 2.8-litre inline-6 with 145 horsepower. Transmission options included a 4-speed torque converter, auto or a 5-speed manual, and even though the car was fitted with a live rear axle to keep the costs down, it did come with a pretty decent feature list which included all-round disc brakes and an optional LSD. As a result, the Celica Supra handles the twisty bits with the utmost composure, something that just can't be said for American cars from the same era. But the better build quality and handling weren't enough to keep up with the powerful Mustangs and Camaros of the time, and that led to subpar sales figures. It was discontinued after a brief 3-year production run. These models go for as high as $40,000 in the used market. At 3, Toyota Celica GT86 Liftback. The first-gen Toyota Celica was unveiled at the 1970 Tokyo Motor Show. Launched initially as a 2-door hardtop, the Toyota sports car in question is the liftback version of the same car that only had a 3-year production run from 1973 to 1974. Designed as a replacement for the Toyota Sport 800, the design is heavily inspired by American cars of the time like the Mustang and Falcon, which is why even Toyota added the liftback to the Celica, as it was a popular body style in the United States at the time. Speaking of the North American market, the Celica GT Liftback was only offered with a single-cam 2.2-litre 20R engine, while the JDM versions got a whole host of engines ranging from 1600cc up to 2000cc. The engine made a very modest 95 horsepower and 122 pound-feet of torque, and was mated to a period-correct 5-speed manual transmission. The entire car weighed just about 2,600 pounds, and combined with its sleek liftback design, this meant it could just hit a top speed of 110 miles per hour on a good day. Despite the somewhat obvious lack of power and the lightweight, the car had great agility and handling characteristics. With all these great attributes and styling that beautifully captures the essence of the 70s, the Celica GT86 Liftback has been gaining popularity among collectors, so expect to pay upwards of $25,000 for a mint example and as low as $5,000 for a decent one. Next up at 2, Toyota 2000 GT. The legendary Toyota 2000 GT is so beautiful that it often ties with the E-Type Jag in the looks department. Unveiled at the 1965 Tokyo Motor Show to compete with the big dogs and for a first crack at a sporty Grand Tourer, Toyota did a fine job. It was powered by a 2-litre inline-6 borrowed from the Toyota Crown sedan. However, it was tuned by Yamaha, who gave the engine's new internals like 3 twin carburetors and managed to take the total power output to 150 horsepower and 129 pounds-feet of torque. In typical Toyota fashion, the 2000 GT suffered from a classic case of over-engineering. For instance, it was the first Toyota model to feature disc brakes on all 4 corners, a 5-speed manual gearbox, and was fitted with a proper LSD. As a result, the GT was capable of doing 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 8.6 seconds and can achieve a top speed of 135 miles per hour, thanks to a low curb weight of just 2,469 pounds. But unfortunately, this cutting-edge car was too expensive for Toyota, which combined with slow sales meant they had to kill the 2000 GT after a short 3-year production run, during which only 351 units were produced, and only 62 of which were left-hand drive models for the US market. Even Carroll Shelby was involved with the race-going 2000 GTs that he reworked to produce 210 horsepower that managed to finish right behind Porsche and Triumph. One such race car recently fetched a record $2.54 million, and even the regular 2000 GT road cars are steadily rising in value due to their exclusivity, with well-maintained examples fetching close to $1 million a pop. And finally, drumroll please, number 1, Toyota Sports 800. The Toyota brand may have gotten its start way back in the late 1930s, but it wasn't until April 1965 when the brand's first sports car went into production. The Sports 800 was a small, almost British-like car that featured a long hood, short tail, and a 2-cylinder engine that's probably smaller than any engine you've ever seen. That's right, the car that ultimately led to amazing cars like the Toyota Supra started out with a 0.79-litre 2-cylinder engine that put out just 44 horsepower. Wowza! Over the course of 4 years of production, Toyota produced a whopping 3,131 examples, and you can occasionally find them up for sale in decent condition even today. In case you're wondering, official 0 to 60 miles per hour times are hard to come by, but according to Hemmings, the Sports 800 had a top speed of 90 miles per hour. And there you have the top 10 best Toyota sports cars ever made. Did you like what you saw? Let us know in the comments down below. Share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fantastic auto guides. See you next time.